What's up, y'all? This is Lou Hill from Waterseed. Um, we decided to do a new series called The Bridge. In anticipation of the new album coming out, we decided to start showing some of behind the veil of how we record, what we're thinking when we're recording. And we thought a cool place to start was the bridge. I think I was watching a podcast and somebody was saying music don't have bridges anymore. So the bridge is kind of like a place of the song. You have the hook, you have everything going, and it's like a release or a climax, and it takes you to the end of the song. So we decided to kind of do this series, breaking apart some of our bridges. Today we're gonna actually do the bridge of a song that came out during COVID called "You're Wrong," one of my favorite songs. And I just want to walk you through how we recorded it, what I was thinking to get it done. All right, the first thing about a bridge is it's usually, people would say it's in another key. I don't really think about it that way. I think of it as being in a different degree of the scale of what's happening, all the rest of that. So the first thing that's going on, "You're Wrong" is like a really traditional kind of Motown soulful vibe. So this is kind of like an example of a really cool song, kind of vibing in a cool way. So first thing we would look at is the chords. So the chords, I usually like to, when I'm structuring chords, I usually like to do inversions. I don't usually like chords sitting on top of their bass note or their root note. This bridge does a little bit, but there's one little tricky thing in it. So the first chord is actually just a really simple chord, A flat. Okay, hope y'all can hear that. Let me try it again. It's an A flat. Okay, that's in first inversion. Then it goes to an E flat, second inversion. Then it goes to an F minor. And then it goes back up to that E flat. Right, so it does that twice, and the second time, instead of going back to the E flat, it goes to something that's kind of tricky. It goes to a sus chord, so it goes to a B flat sus 4 with an F in the bass, and then it resolves to the B flat. So people are like, "Oh, that's so complicated," but Earth, Wind, and Fire used it to death, so this is it in root position. Right, so you sus, go up to that E flat, come back down to the D. So what we did with this chord, how I voiced it was, I voiced it from the F. So F, B flat, E flat. So with an F in the bass, right? And then I never resolve it at all. So it's just, and then I just go up to the B flat in the bass. It's kind of the vibe I wanted. So the whole thing play goes like this. Two. So that's the vibe of it. So let's get into it being recorded. As you can see, Pro Tools is on the screen. So we're going to start with that chord progression. Let's listen to it real quick. Let's just listen to chords. So that's your traditional, electric piano happening. So that vibe. Usually what I like to do to get a different effect is I like to do something rhythmically different. I think this is the right part. Let's try it out. 3, 4. So where's a call and response? I like the effects of it. So that kind of vibe happens. I'll turn on another. I will layer the crap out of some pads. So here's another one that we added in, another electric piano. Trying to give it a little vibe to it. And because I'm a stickler for melodies, I usually will hide the melody somewhere inside of the parts. So let me just play the melody on top of it. So this melody actually happens while we're going. It's in the song, but it's just tucked down. So this is the melody. Sounds absolutely crazy, right? But that's the starting point. Okay, Then all kinds of amazing stuff. The whole band opens up strings and horns and everything. But let's continue to go through the parts on this bridge. So next we have the bass. Let's go with the bass. So there's two bass parts on here. Big shout out to the players on this. This is Ted, son of a bass. Check him out on Ted Talks Bass. He's my dude. He played P bass on this. Let's check out what he laid here. It's going to be a 16th note, just following the actual roots. Some phasing, but that's cool. It's going to get lost in the mix. So he nailed it. I pre-record everything usually, and then I have the cast that I want come in and play the parts to like give some life to it. But I'll pre-record everything, and then and some of the parts stick. So some of the parts actually stay in the song. So here we go. This is something that I put on top of Ted's bass part, or that was already there, and Ted came back and put the real part in. But there's another like keyboard bass happening. Check it out. So I love doing that because I feel like in today's music scene, you know, it's all about, you know, presence and substance. So moving from there, I drove in on this particular song. I drove into Atlanta to hang out with a good friend, IMA. Y'all know him as Amari Adams. I was like, IMA, I'm really working on this song. I spent, I want to say like a day or two with him. We did 2 songs, and he came up with an amazing guitar part for this part. So big shout out to IMA for always coming through. I'll just play the first guitar part that he came up with for the bridge. Here we go. So I was like, yeah, man, that part's cool. That's dope. We're going to keep that. But I need something that has a little bit more personality, too. So he came up with this part. So what's very important, too much happened there. What's very important is like the tone. Anytime if you're producing something or creating something, you want a particular tone. If the tone is not right, if the character of the instrument is not right, it really throws the whole thing off. So let's play Ted on bass, play Amari on guitar. You know, he's like, why not use distorted guitar? Because it would suck if that was distorted guitar, but let's just play those two together. Here we go. Bass, all the guitars, bass and guitar. Let's add in the second bass. I should add, none of this is mixed. I'm gonna make sure that we do this pre-mix just because it's important to me for you guys just to hear the rawness of what's happening. All right, let's add in my little pad parts here. We'll add in first the non-counter part, and let's hope we get a good, I'll adjust it. Let's see. So the pads are really sitting in there. Let's turn that guitar down a little bit. So for all of my people out there using 2 tracks, usually when they come in the studio, they be like, man, how you got so many tracks? It's like, man, you gotta, this is nothing. This is nothing. You guys are lucky to only be working with 2 tracks. I'll turn on all the keyboard parts here, minus the melody. Yep, let's try this. simple progression, arrangements, intentional voicing. It's important to get the colors and the texture you want for it. I'm not going to go over drums because I'm a drummer, and it's kind of like, it's just straight up, you know, quarter note kind of vibe in that old school kind of vibe. So Lindsay Smith came through and sung the parts. So let's look at her parts because she added a little love to it. Let's listen to them. I think I want to listen to them not together though. Let's add. She did a great job on this. Let's start with her two bottom parts here. Let's see if we can get it. No melodyne either. Got some plosives happening. Big shout out to Raj Smooth for cleaning those up. Let's add the next two parts, the middle. Again, no melodyne, just straight up her in it. Okay? And the final, you know, is spread out nicely and all the rest of that. And then the top part, let's go. And I'll stop there. Let's check out that stack on that sus chord. She does a great job there too. Here we go. So, climax, build everything up, make it happen. Love the way that turned out. Let's try to play all of that, and hopefully, because it's not mixed, it won't sound like crap. Let's see. Boom, 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 boom. Bass, second bass, boom. Then we're gonna add in. We're gonna skip over drums, and we're gonna go to the guitar. Maybe I'll put on a little tambourine, play a few of the tambourines there. There we go. A little bit of the tambourine love. Okay, so here we go. Here it is all together. Let's hope it sounds great. Yep, I want to play it one more time without the main melody, and just so you can kind of hear the way the tune was composed and arranged, just straight up minus the melody. You know, the stuff in the background is always super important to me. Let's play it again. Alright, so that's all the keys playing. Everything's happening. We have our background vocals, and then because it's a shout out to the 60s, when string players were playing everything, I had to do some string stuff. So there's two parts in here. I usually like to separate my string parts so that I can have maximum control over it in the mix down. So here's the string part, the first string part. Oh. Sound pretty cheesy, I know. Alright, sounds pretty cheesy. But that's the part. It's going to blend quite nicely. Let's add the other parts, other string parts. Very simple, just following the chord progression. There's some counter rhythm happening. The trick is anytime you do this and you're making all of these rhythms happen, rhythms can be very tricky when layering. So the first thing I was concerned with is the fact that boop, doop, ba, ba, boop, da, boop, doop, ba, ba. It's like, how is that rhythm gonna work against the bass and the guitar? So I always try those things out because sometimes you can overwork someone's ear. I think they came out pretty well. Who knows if I would make that choice now, but this is what it sounds like. A lot of rhythms. So when you're mixing this stuff down, if you have something that's super layered and dense like this, you got to definitely go into your spacing with your frequencies. Make sure stuff is out of the way. Again, this is not mixed at all. So Let's add the other bass. Yet another rhythm coming in. So, and that gives us our bridge for You're Wrong. Happy to share this bridge with you. Thank you so much for listening. Check out the song. I'll play a little bit of it as we kind of get out of here. Here it is, You're Wrong, the bridge of You're Wrong. Enjoy with Waterseed, digital fantasy coming out very soon. Check it out. Peace.